now got a strongish mix of the burnt umber and the phthalo blue. I'll just add a little bit of the permanent rose, and that's going to give us a very strong dark grey, which I'm just going to touch in here and there. It's extremely strong and dark, as you can see. If you can't wait for this to dry and you're worried that you're going to rub your hand all over it, then the easy way around it is to do the rock shadows first and then do this second. It's still damp slightly, of course, this brown here on the shadow side of the rock, so by just scraping it in, it just gives a hit and miss effect, but it also bleeds slightly, which is also quite pleasing. I've made sure the adult's head is just above the horizon line, not sitting on it, otherwise that would compositionally not look right. Got a couple of little children here, and I've added just a little fleck of orange and red. Now that gives a nice accent colour to take our eye through to somewhere in the middle distance, and there's also a little hint of a dog, which is no more than a little elongated round bit like that and two little hints of legs on. The shadow area we finished off. All that now remains to be done is just dragging out some light streaks to represent these light areas that would give you the reflection. At the moment we've got a part reflection with the damp area here for the darker parts of the rocks, but let's just complete that now. And the way we're going to do that is by getting our brush and getting purely a damp brush. We do not want lots of water on the brush for this technique, because what we're going to do now is to take out streaks of light at this angle. In other words, when you have a reflection, or when you have objects this way and you have any sort of water, even damp sand underneath, the reflection always goes the opposite way. So in other words, if that top rock is angling from top left to bottom right here, the reflection is always seen vertically underneath it. So for that to happen, it's got to run this way. It's more this area here that I'm taking out, and then I'm just going to take a little bit and I'm blotting out like that. It's quite a wide light area, so perhaps need a little bit more out than that. And bearing in mind this has got to go up to the top here. You can see I've added in a little bit of more of an obvious reflection from this area here, because this is where there's water rather than simple dampness. Right, now I'm just adding in, while it's still damp, not too strong, just, you can see that dark line there that's coming down like that. Don't want it replicated exactly, but if you think it's too strong and too hard lined, hard edged, then take it out. Just damp it out with the brush, with the paper towel rather. So it leaves leaves a definite mark, but a much more subtle mark. And then finally, just a few little more details here, because as I said, these are more obvious reflections. Notice all the time I'm doing these little reflections this way, the way the water run up the beach, and I'm just going to harden that edge so it looks almost like a little bit of an edge on the rock pool. Just make that harder edge like that. So we've got the water lapping round the base of the rocks like that. If you need to take the reflection out like that, just do that and then just blot it out. It'll just ease it off. And then finally, that orange streak there, I'm just going to turn into a blue streak for the water, as if the water was coming up the beach. Just a hint of the waves breaking gently against the base of the rocks like that. The final thing I'm going to do now is take an extremely watery wash of phthalo blue. In fact, it's almost like blue water, and just drag it over the beach at this point here. I've just done a similar effect where I've filled in that white streak there with the blue, but I'm just very gently, I don't want to lift any of this colour, but I'm very gently just going to sweep this in as if it's the water itself just trying to fight its way up the beach, but it does give that nice little blue tinge which is reflected off the sky onto the beach and just enhances the dampness of the sand. And then as a final little finish off, we're just going to do a few bits of something and nothing, seaweed, I don't know, rocks, whatever you want it to be, just a little pebble there. Again, we're using that little white fleck of paper to create something. Again, remembering we're trying to direct the eye through here, through this gap towards the middle distance with this little family group here. So perhaps, I don't know, it's maybe a little bit of flotsam and jetsam that's left at the edge of the water as the tide comes in and out. As a last thing, I'm going to finally mix quite a strong, dryish mix of raw sienna and burnt umber there like that, and then just sweep it down the beach like that, which in itself creates its own little bits of light and shade. I've just added an extra little shadow here to represent these rocks which are actually overhanging the rear rocks, but apart from that I think we've finished it now, otherwise I'll fiddle it to death if I carry on. Now, I've enjoyed doing this picture. I hope you've enjoyed watching me paint it, but more importantly I do hope you have a go, because I think, as you've seen now, although it looks quite complex at first, if you take it one step at a time you will get there, I promise you. So do have a go.